Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. I'm Bex, the Novel Nana. So today we're going to be talking about how to set the setting in a scene. So I have a whiteboard behind me just to kind of help me keep track of my thoughts, because y'all know me, I haven't got such a great memory, so sometimes I forget things. But anywho, we're going to get right into it. And I know that you probably can't see the entire board behind me, and that's okay. It's basically just notes for myself to keep me on track, for one, and for two, to give you the information. So anywho, I'll go ahead and get started. I will go through the board and then we'll talk about it, okay? So how to set the setting in a scene. There are three things that I like to consider when I'm trying to set a scene. Number one, where will my scene be taking place? Will it be outdoors or indoors? Will it be internally within my character, or will the setting and scene be happening outside of my character? Also, I like to think about any alternate states of being, such as of a dream, or like a dream sequence, or maybe if your book is a paranormal type book, maybe you should consider if it is a ghostly realm, or if you're in sci-fi or fantasy, maybe a magical realm. These are things you need to consider about your setting. Number two, using your character's senses, describe that setting, and also explore the setting. So have your character interact with the setting. You need to be thinking about what is most noticeable within that setting or scene. Are there certain colors or textures to take note of? What does the landscape, or lack thereof, look like? Also, what does it feel like? And how does your character react, if at all? Also, does your character, do they like being there? Is it a normal place for them to be? So they may be more comfortable in that setting or scene. Or is it a new place or a foreign place for them to be? Can you think about what your character might see, smell, touch, taste, or feel? Does your character express any certain emotion or feeling, or have any certain reaction to being in that certain scene that you have set for them? Also, let's think about the surroundings, the emotions that your character might have to those surroundings, or if it's a setting, what about the inhabitants of that setting or location? How does your character react to those things? How does the inhabitants react to your character? That's something to think about. Does your character like or dislike, or have any positive or negative emotions or feelings about being in the setting itself? Maybe they might be scared or afraid, or on edge or nervous about being in that setting. Maybe if you set it at the beach and your character doesn't know how to swim, or maybe has a fear of sharks or being stung by a jellyfish, that would make a certain emotion come up within your character. But anyway, that's just something to keep in mind. Going on to the next. Let's see, do they want or desire to be there, or does it have the opposite effect? Also think about, are they there by their own will, or are they forced to be in this setting or location? Because that can greatly change how your character interacts. Also, can they interact with their surroundings or the inhabitants thereof? Because this can also skew the character's view. Moving on. The third thing that you need to think about, mood, tone, and atmosphere. Okay, so we're going to have you think about that character. Think about the scene that you have placed them in, and what is the setting or the location of that particular scene. Once you have thought about that, think about the mood and the tone, because if you think about your scene, where it's located in the manuscript itself, beginning, middle, or end of your manuscript, the mood or tone needs to reflect that. On some level. Also, is it going to be within the rising or the falling action, the climax, etc.? Do you need some sort of tension or agency within this scene? Also, think about how your character would be feeling in that certain time or space. Really tap into their emotions. Does the scene require any certain wording that would help reflect the tone or mood in that particular setting? Or also the atmosphere. So these are 3 things that I like to consider, and I hope that you will consider when setting your scene. I have one more board for you, and we're going to walk through it, I hope quickly. But anyway, let's go ahead and get started on that, and it's basically just more of me explaining a little bit, and I see that I have smudged the board a bit, but that's okay because, like I said, I'll read it out to you, and you can just kind of listen and take mental note. So, number 1, where's the scene taking place? This is the time and the location included in that setting. You need to think about indoors or outdoors, internally within the mind, also, or externally within the body or physical, how it might feel for your character. Is it an alternate state of being or alternate state of reality for your character? Examples of where your scene could take place. Think about, is it land? Is it plains or prairies or hills or mountains? Is it the sea or a lake or a creek? All of these things will connotate certain feelings and emotions, and also the scenery itself will change drastically. So think about, is it in an ocean, a cave, an air, or in the air, or the sky? Could it happen in space, or on an aircraft, or on a boat? What about another planet, or another realm? Let's see, house, apartment, other buildings, a tent, a spaceship. Maybe underground, or in a labyrinth, or some sort of maze. Also think about, does it take place in a village, or a castle, or a kingdom? What about a country, or region, or town, or city? Is that city small or large? Let's see, how about an island, or another kind of community? What about schools, or clubhouses? Training grounds, such as a camp? What about a camping trip, or maybe in the woods? We can also just think about, will it be happening in a wide open space, or will it be kind of closed quarters? Could this scene be taking place in some sort of underground secret society? What about the location? Could it be on a playground, or maybe even a locker room, or on a naval ship, or a military base? What about on a beach, or in a dream, a foreign or a familiar land? Spiritual realm, heaven, hell, limbo, premonition. This goes back to the alternate state of being. So maybe it could be a premonition. What about a bedroom or kitchen or alleyway or cabin, etc.? The reason why I've thrown so many different settings or locations at you is to get you to think about how that environment might look, how it might sound, and how your character might react to their surroundings. Knowing where the location and the time frame or era that the scene takes place can exponentially change what can be experienced in that particular setting. These are all things you need to consider. Moving on. Is it the mundane to extraordinary elements that can be used in a particular setting that could benefit your scene? Also, knowing that location will help you implement any props into your scene. And I'll kind of explain this a little bit. But anyway, knowing that location can help you implement the props into your scene, and it could also help or hinder or hurt or benefit your characters. And further, it can immerse your readers into the mind or body of your characters and the world that they have existed in. Okay, so example, let's say, let me straighten that out a bit. Let's say you have a need for a fight scene in your manuscript. And so your character, maybe in a fight scene, your character, let's see, wherever you place them within that setting, whatever setting you place them in, is going to be a very different experience than, just You'll see. Let's see. So, my goodness, Peggy. Where you place your character in the scene or setting is going to be different on how they might react or respond within that setting. And my example of this is think about what could greatly affect their actions within that setting and the outcome. Because a fight scene done in a tool shed is going to be very different than a fight scene in a car. What you have access to. Also, what about an alleyway? An alleyway fight scene is going to be very different than maybe a fight scene on the beach. There's not a whole lot to get your hands on an open beach. As where an alleyway, you might find all sorts of things. Also, maybe a storefront. Knowing the setting, knowing where you're putting your characters in that specific scene could greatly enhance your fight scenes by knowing what tools or objects or props, going back to what I mentioned earlier, what props are available. Maybe your character fights dirty. I don't know, but you do you, and I'm hoping that this video helped in some small way for you to understand how much the setting can impact your story and your character within that scene. So that's all I have for you guys today. I'm sorry if it was a little all over the place. You know me, I like to and sometimes I make mistakes and, I don't always know how to edit. So anyway, that's all I have for you today. Thank you so much for watching. I really do appreciate each and every one of you. If you like this kind of video, give it a thumbs up. If you want to know when I upload next, just ring that bell. And let me know what you thought of all of this. Leave me a comment below. And happy writing, guys. And I'll see you in the next one. Bye.